Hey everyone, welcome back to The Privacy Guy. Today I want to discuss the recent changes that WhatsApp made to its privacy policy and then the resulting mass exodus that people then saw with users moving away from WhatsApp towards services like Telegram and Signal, Wickr. I think there are a few others, but those are kind of the primary alternatives to WhatsApp that people have moved towards due to the changes that WhatsApp made to its privacy policy. So first of all, I guess let's just get into the changes of what WhatsApp did to their app, what the changes were, and then I'll talk about some of the reaction and some of the alternatives that people are moving towards. So basically, WhatsApp made a change to its privacy policy that said that businesses could use WhatsApp with Facebook integration into certain business functions of WhatsApp. And most people, or not most people, but this was actually a pretty big misunderstanding because WhatsApp didn't change anything about how it deals with users' messages. The content of people's messages is still protected by end-to-end encryption. So WhatsApp won't be able to view the contents of users' messages. They can't do that now, and these changes won't allow them to view what people send each other. So they're basically just being more transparent about how businesses can use WhatsApp and allow them to track like user data, but not their conversations. Allow them to make it easier for their customers to make purchases directly from WhatsApp. So those are kind of the implementations that businesses would use WhatsApp for and what these changes were related to. But they were kind of taken out of context, and that's what caused people to kind of freak out and move to different messaging apps. And there are some issues with WhatsApp. I think this change just kind of brought some attention to the app's privacy policy, which doesn't, it's not terrible for privacy because of the end-to-end encryption of the messages you send in the app. But WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, is able to collect metadata about how you use the app, so it might know who you're communicating with, but it just doesn't know what you're saying to them. So this applies mostly to users in the United States because overseas, like in Europe, for example, they have the GDPR, which is a privacy regulation that prevents a lot of the tracking that apps like Facebook and Google do. So I don't know, that's one thing to think about if you're in Europe. But yeah, people have made moves towards Signal and Telegram and Wickr, and even just moving towards things like iMessage, like I'm not going to use WhatsApp, I'll just send you a text message. And most of these moves are good, but it is kind of ironic that in response to privacy issues with WhatsApp, people are moving to Telegram. I personally am not a fan of Telegram. It does have some convenient features, but end-to-end encryption is not turned on by default with Telegram. So that's something you should know. If you were using WhatsApp and you switched to Telegram, you are actually more private while using WhatsApp. Telegram does have some like secret message feature that you can turn on, and those messages are protected by encryption. But by default, if you use Telegram and are communicating with your friends, those messages aren't encrypted, so the service could potentially read the contents of your messages. Users are switching to Signal. I think it was Elon Musk tweeted out something about how people should be using Signal. And first of all, Elon Musk tweeting about you is kind of the ultimate marketing. But then also it's just kind of convenient timing, and Signal has exploded in popularity and even saw an outage kind of soon after these WhatsApp changes kind of went public. Signal wasn't able to keep up with the demand, I guess, but they've since fixed that issue. Signal should be back running live. Signal, I want to point out, is by far the best privacy messaging app. It's encrypted by default. It's open source, so if it says it's encrypting my message with end-to-end encryption, I can verify that. The problem with WhatsApp and Telegram, even if they do use encryption, because they're proprietary closed source software, I can't verify that. And WhatsApp, which is owned by Facebook, we've seen Facebook kind of ignoring privacy regulations in the past and just deciding that they're going to collect whatever information they want and then, dealing with the consequences later. If that's $1 billion fine, Facebook's fine with paying it. So yeah, if you're switching to a new app for privacy purposes, I recommend using Signal. For some countries, for some places, for some groups of people, WhatsApp is kind of like the standard messaging app. Like, people prefer to use WhatsApp over SMS texting. Just kind of, I guess it depends on what sort of internet and cell phone coverage you have in your country, or just kind of what the popular app is. So if you're in one of those areas, unfortunately, there's not really an alternative that you can use to message WhatsApp users. So you would have to encourage all of your friends to download Signal or Wickr or some other messaging app. So that's kind of just the run through there. I think it is kind of unfortunate for WhatsApp that this change, which really had nothing to do with what people thought it did, forced them to lose millions of users. But I mean, obviously it's given people more awareness around privacy, which obviously I'm happy about. I think switching to Signal is important. I use Signal. I recommend Signal to all my friends, and yeah, I've had a great experience using it. So we've seen Signal and Telegram boost up in popularity. I think Signal went from not even being ranked on the top apps to being like the #1 app in some countries. So go ahead and give it a shot, give it a try. I'm actually going to link to a response that WhatsApp put out to this issue. They're fairly clear that, hey, like, we're not tracking your communications. This was just a misunderstanding, and the function of our service is for businesses only. But again, I still recommend Signal. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos soon.